Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 217. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, on the Dumb SEO Questions page on Facebook, and also on Twitter on Dumb SEO QS. With us tonight we have David Rozam. David is a long-standing SEO, perhaps the oldest known to man. He has been an SEO copywriter for about 400 years and an SEO for about 8 of those. You can find David at writingforseo.org. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net. He's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense community. He can be found at web.net. 8 years, and you thought it was 13 years. I think, how long have you been an SEO, David?
Oh, probably about 14 or 15 or something.
I didn't.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Well, you know, I am the oldest man in show business, or whatever whatever lies you try out each week about me.
All right.
You think I was a superannuated SEO rather than just a super SEO?
That would be me. Rob Marnes is an AdWords aficionado. He's based in the Netherlands. You can find Rob at marketbiz.nl, marketbiz.nl. Rob is a Google top contributor on the oh goodness, I've forgotten. Google Webmasters and AdWords. Thank you. And yeah, okay. You can onlineownership.com is Tim Capper's address. He is proud to call himself an SEO. He's a conversion rate optimization specialist. He's based in Corby, but Google doesn't know that. He's also a Google top contributor on the Google My Business community. All right, let's tweak that and look to our first question. And it is a hreflang question. It's asked by Peter K. Lamb. It's titled Alternate Domain via rel alternate. He said it has a us.com page appearing in google.uk, even though there's a UK equivalent via rel alternate. He said, I've had a fairly strange problem occur within organic Google search, and I was hoping to get some insight. When we're putting some search queries into Google UK, the search engine results page sometimes shows both our us.com site and also the UK site, .co.uk results on the search page. The .com page that appears is a page more targeted for the search query, but we have a regional which I expect should rank instead. The .co.uk page that appears is the home page, which is less relevant for the target keyword. I made sure that all of our pages are properly using rel alternate to signal that there are regional versions of the same page. The .com pages that appear have an equivalent .co.uk page, but I'm not sure why Google is showing the .com over the .co.uk. Is rel alternate a directive for the search engine, or is it seen more as a suggestion? I want to try getting the pages so that only the regional pages will appear for regional searches. There is a recent trend which we didn't see a few months ago. It appears to be affecting only UK at the moment. My best guess is that Google thinks the .com page is the best result for the particular search query, and bypassing the rel alternate tag to display the .com's page instead. Is there any way to prevent this? Thanks for any feedback.
Well, we had a chat about this before we came on air, and it seems that hreflang is a signal, not a directive. So putting the rel alternate on there won't necessarily show the, in this case, the .co.uk's to UK searchers. So we have, well, I had some feelings about equivalence here. I think from what's been said in the question that equivalence is the, say, the service page, but the services may be different in the UK from the US. So we can't see the site, so we don't yet. So we can't actually say what's what is happening here. But the feeling is that we've got some different copy on the .com to the .co.uk, say, services or about us or whatever it might be, page, and it's equivalent in that way rather than equivalent in content fashion. And it seems to me that you're faced with getting your .co.uk content to work better than the .com. It's difficult to know quite what to recommend specifically without seeing the site. But I think you're right in your supposition that Google is seeing the .com content as being better than the .co.uk. And I'm sure someone will come along and plug in some more ideas, but I think you need to look at the content and see if you can make that that content more UK relevant than it is now.
Cool, thank you, David. Anybody else?
It will not only be content, also links from others to the page that will strengthen it for the UK, if they come from the UK.
Sure.
Yep. All right, it looks as though we've covered it, and let's move on to the next one. Thank you, David and Rob. This one from Noel Kostrava on HostGator SEO. Has anyone moved their old site from another host to HostGator and updated their SEO on their new site built with a new WordPress site? Reading up if there are repercussions on your Google rankings. I'm keeping my old Squarespace site up with the old URL until I finish my new site. Squarespace does not allow me the variables I need for my products. On the new WordPress site, I will be shortening the domain name, and I want to have my old site's domain name point to the new one that I will be putting up in a month. Concerned about ranking if I shut down the old site when I launch the new one, even if I point it. I would like to save the $30 a month and have all sites on WordPress. I already own both domains and have transferred the site I'm working on to HostGator already. Should I switch the old Squarespace domain to HostGator as well now, or when I launch the new site in a couple of months? I don't want to shoot myself in the foot messing about my good rankings for my keywords and suggestions. Nobody?
Well, the story is a bit hard to follow, I must say, but in general, I wouldn't know why he spends $30 a month on something. A domain could be had for $15 a year or something. But the point is that wherever he places it, he should redirect it with 301 redirects. That's the only way he thinks.
Yeah, I think she's talking about hosting, Rob, not the cost of the domain.
Well, also the hosting.
Well, hosting won't make a difference to her ranking. Her hosting won't make a difference to her ranking.
No, but she shortened the URL, the domain name.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you can shorten a domain name. A domain name is a domain name. I don't know how you can shorten it.
I think she means just.
I think it's buying a new domain name and moving it to that is shorter, and moving the site to that domain. And I wonder whether that's a good thing to do.
Well, then, yeah. But then it goes back to Rob's thing. Originally, what he said: make sure you 301 redirect. Problem is, I don't think you can 301 redirect individual URLs with Squarespace, because Squarespace has FTP or htaccess. The only thing I think you would be able to redirect would be the top level domain name.
I don't know.
What you're saying that they can't put a htaccess file on a Squarespace domain?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think the only thing you can redirect is your main domain name. If she's bought a new domain, she would only be able to. It wouldn't even be a 301 redirect. It would just be pointing that domain name to that one. So old domain name to new one. You can't do any internal pages, I believe, with. I don't know.
I don't know Squarespace, but is it a WordPress site on Squarespace, or is it got its own CMS or something?
No, Squarespace is like fucking Wix.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
So if you sort of forward it, is it just the top? Will every internal page point to the main domain, or will the internal pages be reflected? So if you have example.com/example page, would it go to newdomain.com/example, or if someone types in example.com/example, will it go to newdomain.com or newdomain.com/example?
It'll be 404, not found.
Because if it's the latter, then you can try to do the htaccess on the new site, if it's sort of completely mapped.
Yeah, but it's a different domain, so you can't. Can you do htaccess
on the new one? So essentially, what you do is, because she wants to change the internal structure as well, right? So
yeah,
if transfer happens the internal side as well. So if say olddomain.com/example goes to, if someone types that in, newdomain.com/example, then you could then change the resulting page. So you can write in the htaccess of the new site. that the new domain.com/example will go to new domain.com/new page, if that makes sense. But if the old domain.com/example goes to the top page or returns 404, then you can't do it. So it depends on how Squarespace treats that kind of situation. And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think summing up, if Noelle does not 301 redirect the pages on her site, she is going to lose any value that site has. I think that's agreed, isn't it?
Yeah. So the question is, if that's the case, is it really worth going to a new site? And if so, you have to ensure in some way that you retain the custom that you have had on the old site. So
I think she's between a rock and a hard place in that she said Squarespace does not allow me the variables I need for my products. So the way I would do this would
put it this way: you can't even add HT access for a redirect on your non-dub-dub to your dub-dub version, or vice versa. With Squarespace, you can't do anything with it. The only thing she could do would be to redirect the top-level domain to the other domain, but that would exclude any other variables or any other URLs.
Yeah, but
yeah, I don't know.
I think there's a way around it, and if she were to use something like Zenu or Screaming Frog to crawl her Squarespace site, all of those URLs, a fair bit of work to do this, but if she gets a list of all the URLs on her old site, and then just gets a piece of hosting for that domain, it doesn't need to be expensive because it won't be carrying any code load. All she needs to run on that is an htaccess file to redirect, make up an htaccess file with the redirects on it to her new site.
Yeah, so long as she's in control of the domain.
Yeah, so she'll need, she won't be able to do it via the Squarespace site, as Tim has pointed out, but there's no reason why she can't put the domain on a new host, and she can't use the same one that she's using for her new site, of course. But if she gets another domain hosting, and you'd also need to keep it on for 6 months, 12 months, and until you stop paying for it when you see that there's no traffic coming from it.
But then she also could put that WordPress page on that domain.
On the Squarespace?
You suggested she also could do the whole WordPress site on that old domain.
No, I would say she doesn't need to put any code at all on it apart from an htaccess file.
Yeah, I do understand that's one solution. But if you don't change your domain name, that will be stronger than doing 301 redirects.
I think, but she's already purchased. How does Squarespace work, Tim? Does it have some sort of proprietary URL format?
I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that whenever I've tried to do anything with it, I can't do shit.
Yeah. So long as she's in control of the old domain name, then it's fine.
Yeah.
So that's where Jim's suggestion comes in. So as long as you're not sort of tied by Squarespace people, that you can actually move it. You are allowed to, as it were, control your records, DNS records and other such on your domain. Then you'd be fine, and then do what Jim suggested.
She can also do a page with this page can now be found on this domain.
Yeah, but that's not ideal, is it?
I didn't say it was ideal, but a last resource.
Yeah.
All right, let's call that an answer. Noel, I hope you'll find that helpful, and we look forward to more questions if not. Let me tweet that and move on to the next. Schema for an e-commerce site. Mike Cook, who's asked a number of questions of us, asks if you're using schema for an e-commerce site, how would Google take into account if you have products that require 2 decimal places, for example, £2.83p, but this product is sold in units of, say, 40, and it is per unit £2.83.4p. Your schema would show 2.834. How much chaos would this cause, if any? I'm judging by the silence, it's not going to cause any chaos.
Yeah, but hold on a second. So you dictate the schema based upon what's on your page. Why is your page then showing 2.83.4? I don't understand why you would show that. You dictate what schema or what you're going to be marking up on that page. If your page is not splitting it up into units of 40 at 2.834, why would you even mark that up if it's not appearing on your page?
Well,
So
it might
I'm
be just you might just see unit price. So let's say you buy 40 at £2.83.4, and then if you buy 80, it might be lower. You might buy 100, then the unit price might become lower.
If it goes
but what I'm
lower
saying,
by 10%, it doesn't seem to be very...
Yeah, but why would that...
So, for example, let's say we buy 1 and it's £2.50. You buy 10, then unit price becomes £2.30.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because it'd be interesting to compare that.
But I'm just trying to find it. Well,
I would say try it and see what happens.
There is a property, I think, type for price component and unit price specification in schema. So I suppose you could use that, and presumably they'll be able to cope with fraction of the lowest unit, because otherwise how would currency exchange, for example, work? Because they go beyond the penny or cent. They go for a few more decimal places. So I can't see how that would be too much of a problem if they're properly marked up.
I don't understand myself. I mean, aren't British pounds going to be worthless after you pay your Brexit bill?
Well, I think we all need to buy Australian dollars.
We're fairly selective on who we sell to, Mr. Taggy.
All right, then we'll go for the New Zealand dollar.
All right, Mike, I'm sorry, the best answer we have is that we're not sure. But yeah, I don't think it would cause any trouble, but then again, I'm no expert either. Let me tweet that. No, I've already done it. Damn it. All right, Neil Cheeseman, who's also asked a number of questions of us, has a question titled Anomaly in Google Search Console Analytics. He said, I have a question re Google Search Console. On my own website, I've noticed a curious anomaly in the search analytics where a large or a fairly large number of pages, they're actually posts slash URLs, are supposedly being displayed as they have impressions being displayed in the Search Console, but these are being displayed for generic search terms which the page is not focused on. These impressions have supposedly been occurring every day when I post a new news item. I often post several news items a day, and that URL spikes for that generic search term for about a day on the day that the item is posted. The thing is, I frequently search in private browsing for two of these generic search terms, maybe once a day or two, and have not seen evidence of these pages slash URLs ranking at all. The problem is these pages URL have a very low click-through rating, and I'd like to either remove them or benefit from them. So I don't understand why these impressions are being displayed in the first place. And if they are being displayed, why do I not see them? Any suggestions on how to get to the bottom of it and how to benefit from it? The website is in Google News, and these items do occur in the news section. Or am I misinterpreting the Search Console results?
Well, what he should start to do is use the filters in Google Search Console to see where those impressions come from. Images or specific countries or whatever. That would give him a clue.
Fair enough. Anybody else?
And he can't remove them or benefit from them. And the low CTR will only be effective for those non-imports.
Would it be? I have a question. Would it be because these are news items and news items are ranking highly when the news is fresh, but as the news becomes stale, they rank very. They drop on the page. So that would explain the low click-through rating, and he's not seeing that because the Google Search Console results are a rough representative sample, which wouldn't discern between the first day and the 11th day or 10th day or whatever. Would that be a possibility? Maybe, maybe not. Well, I think that's what it is.
It seems logical, doesn't it? Because news does have a short lifespan. I don't know a lot about Google News, to be honest, so maybe I'm just sucking up to you, Jim.
That'll be a first.
I always suck up to you, Jim. You just don't realise it.
All right, let's move on to the next. Neil Cheeseman, I'm sorry, we haven't got a broader answer for you. All right, Neil has a question. Is there a live ranking keyword software for Google? It's not showing on our run list for some reason or other. I'll have to check that out tomorrow. But I do remember Tim Capper saying, no, there isn't.
Well, there are the Google SERPs, as you know.
It's very hard to use Google these days because there are so many varieties of a result. And hang on, Tim, you're speaking and no sound's coming through. No volume. Anybody else got here, Tim?
No,
Yeah, I
it's
don't.
good actually seeing you talk and not being able to hear him.
This is my version of heaven.
Yeah.
You want to try again, Tim? You've muted yourself now. Tim said in the comments that no, there is no such thing as live tracking. No, I think that's correct. All right. All right. Let's move on from that. I think that's answered all of our questions this week, guys, on the dumb SEO questions, or at least the SEO questions community on Google+. Hello, Tim.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Woohoo! Baby, we're back in business. Yeah, so as I was saying, No, there's no way you can have a live tracking. There's just no one would have the computing power to even provide you with live tracking. Just wouldn't happen unless you had like some direct backdoor like the NSA has to Google. So yeah, the closest thing you can hope for is to use any one of the tracking tools, but they obviously provide a snapshot of when they last visited it, and it's never live. And of course, you can sit there and just go into incognito, search for your term, and that's theoretically live, like Rob points out, but there's no thing that actually will track it for you live, minute by minute and hour by hour, over days, weeks, months. There's just nothing like that ever.
Yeah. All right, so that concludes our questions. We've answered all the questions asked on the SEO Questions community, on Google+, on the Dumb SEO Questions page on Facebook, and also via the Twitter handle of Dumb SEO QS. Now we move on to our news section, and you can post topics of interest. We'll discuss them in the SEO news community on Google+. This one was posted by Chase Rayner. I have a lot of difficulty saying this because, you know, I think that Wix SEO is an oxymoron. And anyway, some sort of publicity stunt. They're putting up this challenge, and Chase Rayner's picked up the cudgel, and he's taking them on. Anyway, he wants to know if anybody's heard about the SEO Hero challenge presented by Wix.com.
Oh, Jim, you didn't read this, did you, Jim? You just didn't read it. He posted this, and it's not actually saying, as anyone, is this legit? Because that just came off his site. So Chase has taken up the thing, and that's actually on his front page. That's why. So it's basically a link drop, Chase, a link drop. But seeing as it's Facebook, it's all right, because that's all just never even found. But yeah, so Chase has taken it up. Quite a few people have taken it up, and I believe Yoast's site is going live sometime this week. I think Wix possibly bit off a little bit more than they could chew for $50,000. Mate, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to jump to the gun and say that Yoast is probably going to win this, but and there are a few other big players out there that are also going to be launching their site in this next couple of weeks. Just write that check now, mate, because I don't think Wix is going to win this one. And trying to resurrect your already bad SEO reputation is just going to be compounded when you have to fork over 50 grand for not being able to rank for SEO Hero that you challenged everyone else to. So just write the check and just realize that no SEO is ever going to use Wix again. Ever. If they ever did in the first place. And you're probably going to have to think about changing all your YouTube ads where you're saying already optimized and SEO friendly. You're probably going to have to change all your ads anyway at the same time. So you might as well do that now, because you've got 4 months before the end of the challenge, where you end up giving someone 50 grand, ruining your reputation, which you didn't have in the first place, and changing your ads over now. All of this from our sponsors this week at Wix.com.
it goes for 4 months, does it?
Yeah. So it's I think the kickoff date is final registration 16th of December, I believe it is, and it's going to run for 4 months. And some bloke who I've never heard of in New York will do 4, obviously incognito searches for SEO Hero. We'll do 4 over a space of a couple of days, and the person that's ranking #1 for SEO Hero gets 50 grand. I think it's a little bit weird that part of the
2 or 3 are #1 at the same time, depending on how you search.
I do find it a little bit weird how they want competitors or the people involved in this to actually add to actually add one of their Gmails. I think it's called the SEO Challenge at Gmail or whatever, as an admin to their Search Console and Analytics. I don't know why they insist on admin. That's, I think, is a little bit weird. I don't know why they need that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't join the competition, but just for fun, I might show Yoast how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, Wix. I mean, they've got that. You know, their main site has got a huge amount of authority. If their SEOs, you know, leverage this and use their site, they can. And I'm assuming Yoast and some of the bigger guys are also going to be doing that. But it has to be obviously a brand new domain, etc. But I'm sure everyone's going to be leveraging their authority there. I think to throw down a challenge like that, where in your heart of hearts you've got to know how crap your site is for SEO, you know, your CMS is, and that's a big gamble unless they got something up their sleeve. We'll just have to wait and see how everyone kicks off their sites.
Well, what is also odd is that the site that Wix is going to run is SEOHeroSchool.com. And if you check that domain, it's still sitting as a parked domain on GoDaddy. I mean, they deserve they deserve to be put down just for choosing GoDaddy as their registrar.
Oh. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It'll be an interesting one when the big boys all kick off. None of the big players' sites are live yet. So if anybody's got I think his is, I can't remember. I think his is Watch This Wix. WatchThisWix.com. So if anybody wants to lend support, just share one of his pages or a link on his page. That's great. There's a few other out there already. I mean, I see someone's already created just one on a Google site. So yeah, there's some small people out there, but if you've got time, lend some of the smaller guys some support, because even runner-ups, even if they lose, even some runner-ups like the seconds, thirds, they do still get a little bit of cash. So yeah, you know, if you've got time, lend your support. If you see a little SEO out there, let's definitely make sure Wix doesn't win this, because Jesus, if they did, I would have to get Jim to edit this entire section to remove this from them, and I would have to go into hiding.
Well, maybe we just put up a whole bunch of websites, push them down with a whole bunch of websites that say Wix SEO is non-existent. It's crap.
Well, SEO hero.
Okay, enough fun. Will I tweet this? Yeah, why not? And the next is, oh, David Rosam. Good heavens. David can tell us about this. It's titled, Are You Missing Page Rank? Don Your Geek Hat. There's an open source project that gives you page rank and a whole lot more. Yes, David.
Yes. Yes. I seem to remember I posted this last week, but somehow it didn't appear on the running order. So you'll have to forgive me for not remembering a lot about this. There's an open source project, and it's pretty geeky, as most of these things are. But if you are desperately missing page rank, as some people seem to be, it is a way of getting it, or some kind of facsimile of page rank. Basically, it's an open source project that allows you to build your own search engine, should you wish to do such a thing. And you can bias your search results towards pink fluffy elephants, probably, if you wanted to do that. Oh, he's gone. Tim won't know that he can get search results biased towards pink fluffy elephants. It was just an interesting little thing if one wanted to set up in competition with Google.
Thank you, David. Well, it seems to me that it's that time again. We've done it for yet another week. And for those of you that watch us, we thank you. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all over again. But for now, it's